Toyotaro, you are making me feel very mixed emotions right now. That's right everyone, Dragon Ball Super the manga chapter 65 is here, and do you remember that roller coaster of leaks that we have been traversing for a long time now, especially last time out? Did you realise that not only is that still here, but it's also now even more apparent? In any case, the manga is something that has fortunately become more accessible, so that means we can talk about it in this capacity and maybe even do a little bit of ranting now and again. And I strongly urge you to check out the manga via Viz Media's online portal, all for just a couple of bucks a month or something like that. You get the content as soon as it comes out in high quality, there you go. That's how I review the manga. Chapter 65. I didn't learn how to train my body as a planet. Okay, again, that's not the title of the manga actually, but I really don't care anymore in this arc. It's something that is a really mixed bag, isn't it? But before we begin the review proper, do check out my Fiverr pages, links in the pinned comment below, where you can get my voiceover services, as well as also hiring me to read your fanfiction. But again, links below for more information. Where we last left off, we started to see Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku really up the ante and showcase that he has truly mastered this power that Merus had fallen for him to access. Yep, that was a gesture that Merus will not live to regret, because he's not alive anymore. However, the ride wasn't all that prosperous, as it became very clear that Goku was going to be handling this very differently, or not differently. Also, the analogies and allusions to the Cell Saga, whilst they were starting to get a little bit of a minor rumbling in the past, were becoming more and more like bullhorns. Despite the detailed artwork though, and increased involvement from Toriyama himself, I will say, the content was starting to get a little more derivative as the visuals were improving. They were sort of going like crossing paths almost. It all ended with Goku wishing to fight Moro as an Earthling and eschewing his Galactic Patrol emblem. Now, my theory last time, if you don't remember for this idea, was that Goku was going to be merciless in his Ultra Instinct form, his body acting totally not in keeping with himself and how Jaco and his crew would operate. And as I'm about to describe to you though, I was very wrong. Sadly wrong. And also, Toyotaro, Mr. Perfect Cell would like to know your location. We start the chapter with Krillin from very, very far away, noticing that Goku does not need to use senzu beans since, I mean, he's basically finished off Moro at this point with this new power and not drained any of his strength, seemingly, because of it. It was basically a one-sided battle, and that sort of reminds me of when Gohan went Super Saiyan 2 and basically took out Perfect Cell before he regurgitated 18. We then cut to Goku acting all grandiose, or as grandiose as Mastered Ultra Instinct can, basically telling Moro to get up off your feet, almost trying to be really sinister there, but it's nowhere near as cool, unfortunately. Now, we all think this is him about to lay down the final strike in an equally epic manner from what we saw in the last chapter, but the epicness is only measured in the form of an epic fail. Goku then slinks over to Krillin, whispers in his ear, that giving Moro beans his free real estate, and then disappears again. Basically, he didn't even ask Krillin for the beans. He just went, I'm gonna take these beans, bye. And then he just gives Moro a bean. But of course, you probably already knew that. I mean, everybody knew this, to be honest. And then Goku's all like, now say you're sorry, Moro. Then we can put you in a little bit of time out, and you can think about what you did. Okay? And then Moro is like, no, you! Well, I mean, okay, we get some simpering from Moro. Oh, I am not going to actually terrorize anyone anymore. I'll leave the planet as you say, Goku. But that's only for a second. Moro is, like you would expect, back to full power when he has the bean. And of course, he doesn't go anywhere. And then he tries to hit Goku, only to break his hand on those very chiseled pecs of Goku's. And okay, in the moment when I'm really, really annoyed and angry at the derivative nature of this little moment is funny enough to at least ease the pain of this dunderheaded move of the Saiyan's part. Oh, but don't worry, Moro. I'm sure that Goku would give you another senzu bean if you asked very, very nicely and said you were really sorry this time. Jeez. And also, fun fact, while I was checking out the manga for this review, the server for Viz Media and their manga thing crashed many times. I've never seen that happen before. People really want to see this. And when I tried to get intermittent access again, I then spotted the notion that even the likes of Jarko was starting to get very frustrated and shocked about Goku's move. And when you get the likes of this lackadaisical patroller chewing you out, then you know that you done goofed. Then we get Beerus and Whis adding their piece, then Goku has the audacity to power down from a power that he isn't quite sure, nor are we quite sure, that he could then get back into again should he need to. That is either mighty cocky or mighty stupid, and to be honest, my money is on the latter, after all I've seen so far. I gotta hand it to Goku though with all of this, but I don't want to, and I shall then instead hand it to Moro because his hand is within striking distance, with one of those jewels intact. And again, you know what happens next. Goku can probably sense it too in a way, and he powers back up again. That was very lucky, Goku, that you could do that. I mean, I say luck, it's just convenient. But he's citing that Merus had fallen for him to ensure that he could rid the galaxy of this menace. He still remembers that Merus did that, which makes me think, why? Why, if he remembered that Merus did that, then why would he then do this and not try to do it the first time, get rid of Moro? Past caring. But then this gets Moro thinking, taking his hand when he remembers the moment that Merus had chopped it off with his staff. He might have that power of an angel, and then transforms his hand, probably using his magic, because, you know, to then attach his original hand, and then boom! His absorption techniques are now fully restored. He is now completely recovered. Because if you noticed, the senzu beans didn't quite fully bring back his absorption from 7-3. We also get a bit of a visual change going from those black cell-like sideburns to white cell-like sideburns to denote Merus or perhaps angelic influence. Beerus then laments that this has happened, and again, Krillin and Jarko are equally being the sphere of indignation. So, for one of the first times, Beerus and Whis are literally just like Yamcha and Tenshinhan on the sidelines going like, "What is Goku doing?" The power from the battle that we then see, okay, Toyotaro starts to turn things around. It's mighty. And we suitably removes Jarko and Krillin from the scene as we get, again, mighty visuals, as well as which are very well drawn. Despite Toyotaro's writing not being the most original right now, in fact not all that original at all, lately especially, the guy certainly knows how to make something very pretty to look at and to really imply scale. The visuals continue we're seeing Moro getting to grips with his new angelic powers, finding out what he can do, and he is ultimately blown away by all of this, as he and Goku are shooting across the planet in literally seconds, because, you know, they are strong. But the question is though, does this mean Moro is stronger than Goku? Well, I don't think so. Goku did have the upper hand here, but unlike Gohan and Super Perfect Cell, he doesn't seem to be on the defensive at least. It's at least an even battle. However, this is when all of those trippy spoilers start to show up, and this is something that Haverock and I were actually thinking about before this leak thing even happened. Moro's body starts to get all corrupted and weirded out. Technically, Haverock and I thought that, given this circumstance, this could be the cosmos going, "Hey, what do you think you're doing with those powers?" and noping Moro out of existence. That would have been hilarious to see, and in keeping with our theory about the rule of the angel applying to Moro now, since he now has Merus' powers, and therefore is technically an angel, but we're not quite there yet. It's acting differently. Moro's body is starting to mutate, sort of like Semi-Perfect Cell when he was blowing himself up, but not quite. It is different enough, but it does lead to the same stalemate that we see in Z. And yeah, Moro is going full Tetsuo right now, and this appeases Beerus, thinking that Moro was basically done. He will soon burst from all of his ill-gotten gains, basically a stroke of luck here, and the situation is looking that way from what we see in this tome. Then Goku points out quite aptly that this is a similar thing that happened to Sagambo. Ironic punishment for Moro powering up Sagambo to the point where Moro's former lead minion basically was overburdened with power and he died. It would have dire consequences for Moro too. I do like that. That is a very good point. I really like that continuity there. Moro's power is now even starting to falter, and Goku is now back with the upper hand once more. And this is when Whis of all people starts to get very annoyed with Goku, telling him to get on with things already and finish this wizard off. I mean, damn. When you've got this chill person shouting at you to get the job done, you know you are doing something pretty silly by not doing it before. But just before Goku can do it, Moro then melts into the planet and out comes, well, you know, a head. And then a laser. Moro has now fused with the planet and cocooned himself with the planet, and now they can't touch him because if they do, and the planet blows up because he could probably do that, the galaxy is doomed. Oh, Goku, you're really not worthy of being a protagonist here. And yes, okay, Moro in this site does look really cool, But this is exactly what Gohan had to deal with all those years ago. Basically, if he touched semi-perfect Cell, Cell would explode. And I bet I could hear Gohan in the distance, at least in my mind, going, "Yeah! Now does it feel, Dad? Huh? You scared? You want to give him another senzu bean? Huh?" The chapter ends leaving us all gasping for more, despite Goku being stupid. Because I haven't said that enough. All in all, this was a chapter that, upon the first leaks and spoilers coming to the surface, the first 8 pages, the community wanted to despise this chapter, loathe it, citing that Toyotaro has no clue in how to write anything wholly original for himself, and instead choosing to hail back to the past time and time again. There is paying homage to something, of course, but then there is also straight up exhuming the past and just repackaging it. But that being said, when we actually get the content that we've now witnessed, it wasn't as bad as we had feared. Despite Goku making a completely idiotic move and straight up dooming the Earth like he did with Cell, it did have some sort of method in its madness with Moro. And yes, I know, Moro had a tantrum and has now endangered the Earth in some sort of ransom-like scenario, like semi-perfect Cell, but it at least added some peril which was unexpected, some intrigue into a situation instead of just lengthening a standard battle between two beings, just artificially increasing the length of the fight. Now it's Goku versus a literal planet eater who is a planet. You gotta hand it to the creative team. This repackaging of the past at least is kinda cool to look at. It eases the pain and the eye rolling a little bit. Haverock and I were actually talking about this prior to this review being recorded, before the chapter officially came out, and yes, I am aware of the spoilers, I mean how could you not be? But I will never publicly talk about it so as to ruin it for others, I don't want to do that. This tome confirms to us that Moro is a pretty cunning individual, and that he can resort to things like absorbing himself into the planet, despite being told that he has used too much power and he hasn't trained enough. It's a really thrilling predicament in that Goku can't hit this thing really hard like he would want to, or else it will take out part of the galaxy. But you know who can do it? It's Jeets. Yep. Vegeta probably, surely is up and about by now thanks to Dende healing everybody, and so we can both think, Haverock and I, that he will step up and straight up punch the ground while nobody's looking, weakening Moro enough to the point where he has to resume his physical humanoid form, and then Vegeta will finish Moro off, not trusting Goku one bit to do it, like, "You had your chance, Kakarot, I'm gonna do it!" And if you don't think that it's possible that forced spirit fission can work, think about it. Moro has absorbed himself into the planet Earth. Yeah. Also, did you notice that Whis is now starting to lose patience with Goku? Whis of all people? Especially when the planet's being held to ransom by a freaky magician. Extremely reckless behaviour here, with an entity that is the best being in the universe when it comes to magic. And when you've got magic with the power of the planet behind it, that is a very boneheaded move, Goku. Seriously. And like Geekdom has said, Goku is the worst thing about the chapter, and I agree. But the rest of it, though, does make up for the main character being a total waste of space here. And this is me talking here, who voices and quite likes Goku. What does that tell you? But what did you folks think of Chapter 65? Has this gotten you curious for the ending, hopefully coming out the next chapter? Or are you pretty much done for the moment? Be sure to leave a comment, do leave a like, and share this review to everyone you know, and I shall see you next month for Chapter 66, where we can hopefully end the Moro arc. But until then, guys, catch you later.